Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my second stream from this new lot of streams that I'm going to be working on from now on. So, a big thank you to. Oh, actually, the chat seems to be working at some point. I was trying ages today to get this little chat box working. It seems to be working on its own accord. So, I don't know. That's a strange thing. Anyway, so I seem to have some sort of notification popping up. Anyway, right. How is everyone? How is everyone's Sunday going? It's very warm here in England. I've had as much tried to keep this room as cool as possible, so it's nice and cool for the next 3 hours. But I've got a fan on. I do apologise if you can hear. I've tried to adjust the audio a little bit, so hopefully you can't. But helps to keep me cool. Good. We've got a few people in the chat today already. 47 viewers. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in for this Sunday evening stream. We've got a few people from the fiery norths of Canada at the moment. It's kind of crazy. Those pictures have been coming out. Warman Island, yeah, I think it's quite warm from a lot of places. Boiling Little Alive in NL, yeah. England, we don't tend to have air conditioning and built our houses to retain heat. Yes, that's the problem. I think a lot of people forget that our houses are made of brick and full of insulation in the cavity walls and stupidly insulated. It's great in the winter, but it's terrible in the summer. Robo Whale, thank you very much for your subscription. Bigly appreciated. Thank you very much for doing that. Much appreciated. Welcome to the second stream. The first one was a little bit of a test stream. There was a few things that didn't work, didn't go well in that. So hopefully we've got a little bit of a better time on this stream. So yeah, I did put a little bit of a quick prediction to see what I'll be working on. And as if you see my post on Twitch and YouTube, a little teaser, I'm actually going to be working on some of my Raptors, which I haven't worked on for a very long time, basically since I built the kill team and Games Workshop decided to completely change kill team rules and make the whole team obsolete. So yeah, that was fun. But yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you? Yeah, so it's been a bit of a long time really, and I've been wanting to do Raptors for ages. I really enjoyed kitbashing them, and someone in my last stream, I do forget who it was. So if you're in the stream, then you might know who I'm talking about. I basically wanted to do I wanted to build an army, and someone asked me a question: "Oh, if you had time and money wasn't an issue, what would you like to do?" And I would like to go back and fully flesh out a Raptors army. I thought, well, these streams are perfect. I can sit here building, painting, and everything, and chat to you guys at the same time. So yeah, I thought, well, why not? It's a good option. Bobo Kiddo, thank you very much for your subscription. We believe we've got a hype train going. Again, still don't know what half of this stuff means, but it's all good. We've got a notification, so it's all great. Thank you very much. So yeah, Reasonable Marines go. Yes, very much. Your Raptors are a huge inspiration to my Space Marines chapter. I'm really excited to see new ones. Yeah, me too. So the one thing that I wanted to do was to branch out into units which wouldn't make as much sense in a kill team capacity. So for the kill team, I built, I think I had one heavy intercessor in there. There was a scout. There was some Phobos Marines, which is the infiltrators. I forget what they're called, the sniper ones. They were there. And a couple of intercessors as well. So I'm going to actually, in this stream, go for some Gravis armor, and I'm going to be doing some Aggressors. So hopefully we can have a good time having a chat whilst we do this. And Eliminators, there you go. Thanks, Chris. Good to see you, Chris. How's it going? If you haven't done so already, you should definitely check out Chris's channel. I actually have one of your stickers somewhere. I forgot what it is. Also, thank you very much for one of my Discord mods who's very kindly volunteered to mod this the stream tonight. Is it Danka Yankee? I assume it's Danka Yankee. So yeah, big thank you to you for giving up your Sunday evening to sit and mod all these reprobates. So thank you very much. So everyone be nice and make their job much easier. And say hello as well. Cool. Anyway, enough waffle. Let's actually start doing some kit bashing. So tabletop and face. There we go. Perfect. So one mistake that I actually realized that I made last time, and I'm hoping to fix it this time, is I spent a lot of time finding components, clipping them off, and then going to the hassle of cleaning of done that. So I've actually spent some time today, and I've already prepped the components. Look at that. Everything is there to build an aggressor, and I've actually done it just in case we build more than one. I've done it 1, 2, and I've got another one over here as well. Three whole aggressors that we can potentially build in this video. So if you're not aware of the Raptors, they are a Raven Guard successor chapter, and not a reprobate, I'm a properly great. So they are a Raven Guard successor, and they, as someone's already pointed out, they are reasonable Marines, and I think that's kind of because they're a little bit more tactical, a little bit more utilitarian, which is why I quite like the look of them. Really good kit bashing opportunities, so hopefully we're going to be able to drive some of those in this video. So yeah, what have we got? So the first thing we're going to do is the most favorite thing that I have. Hopefully the autofocus is still on this. If not, I'm going to have to change it. It is on. There you go. Look, I already did it. Hopefully the autofocus kicks in. There we go. Perfect. So what we're going to do in first is we're going to remove that. It's not a Aquila, because someone actually corrected me in one of the comments of the videos, and use a fixed focus. Yeah, I could use the fixed focus. The only thing is I'm not sure if I'm going to keep on. Let's try the fixed focus, because I tend to move my hands around on these a lot. There we go. Perfect. Storm Andreas raided you with a party of 3. Hello, thank you very much for bringing your followers, your viewers to my stream. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Right, okay, so first thing we need to do is, so Chris, I think you said it was the Imperialis. Yeah, so I will call it Aquila, but it's not really a Aquila, is it? The Aquila's one with the 2 heads, but it's just kind of usually easier. So first thing we're going to remove that, and that'll clear up some real estate that we can add some extra items. I literally have, so I've got my bits boxes here. This is my Primaris one, and I also have my second Primaris one, and I also have my actual Space Marine Primaris bits box with all the individual bits in there. So we've got plenty of bits to work with. Hopefully we'll find something in those boxes. So Andreas, thought we'd come here, seen some of your vids, and they are really well articulated. Didn't even know you streamed. Well, very recently, until very recently, I didn't stream. Wednesday was my first kind of recent stream, and yeah, so hopefully you're going to keep going from now on. What's it? 77. Thank you very much for your subscription. Much appreciated. Yeah, so 81 viewers. I think we smashed the target for the last stream. I think it's because we're talking about Raptors in this one. Anyway, let's start with this. I will. There we go. Right, let's start with this. Hopefully, I can keep everything in shot. Let's move this microphone. Sorry, I'm not talking. How's that? Cool. Perfect. So, as always with this kind of work, the best thing to do is to remove the bulk with some small little cuts like that, and you start scraping it all the way afterwards. This is one of the things I quite like about the Space Marine armor, is that when you actually start removing all these extra decorations and details, and you get a really nice kind of slab-like armor, and it's really, especially with the Primaris stuff, it's just gives you lots of space that you can either leave completely blank and not do anything with, or you can add your own details too if you want to. Oh, look at that off camera. This is the trouble. I think the last time I streamed last year, a couple of years ago, I got some tape down just on like the outside of the screen, just to make sure that I wasn't holding anything off camera. So yeah, we're just going to make small cuts here and then just use that scraping motion as well. And they're usually quite easy to remove, these kind of things, especially on Gravis armor. If you have a Dremel, you can use that too. I've used it to good effect in the past. Not everyone has a Dremel, so I tend to just show people how to do it with a knife. The biggest problem is that you see, if you kind of see this little ridge here, that's usually quite difficult to get rid of, because you don't want to touch the gorget. If you can, you want to try and get as much as possible removed without doing that. So you can kind of just use a little scraping motion here, and that usually does the trick. I do apologise if you can hear any background sounds at the moment. there's someone having a kids party at the back. So, um, right, okay, yeah, someone, yes, someone address Discord. I need to set up some of the chat commands in there. Right, let's have a look. Let's go back. Let's go back to the point in the. In your videos, you are often given kits by Games Workshop. Do you get given every 40k kit they make? If so, you must have the biggest pile of shame in history. I don't get everything. I tend to get most stuff. If you ever see like Games Workshop do like an article where people will say, "Oh, we sent some stuff to people to paint. Here they are." So most of the time, I do get those, which is always really nice, because it means I can do these videos. I can get them out actually for launch, because it takes me about 2 weeks to make a video. So if I waited to launch to pick something up, I think the initial hype for the new kits would probably long gone. So for example, the Keldor Drago. So I got Indomitus several weeks ago actually. It was like the week after Warhammer Fest, and I was in the middle of doing other projects, so I kind of had to put it on hold, and then it took me about 2 weeks. So about 3 weeks ago, I started work on that Keldor Drago. Gravis chests are really great once the quill is gone. I use them for both patches and freehand transfer designs. Yes, very good for that. I think it was Richard Gray, the Demon Rich on Twitter and Instagram. He's kind of talked to him before about Games Workshop kits actually having a little bit too much detail, and it actually makes it harder to paint sometimes, because you can't paint the detail on yourself. You have to paint what detail is there, and it can draw too much attention to certain areas and not attention to other areas. So I believe it was him that was saying it anyway. Let's catch up on the chat. Having a party in this temperature. Yeah, it's quite warm. To be fair, the way the houses are, so they're, unfortunately, my room that I stream in is kind of like southwest facing, so it gets quite a lot of sun. But the backs of their houses are kind of like opposite ours, so they pretty much are in the shade for most of the afternoon in their garden. So it's not too bad. They've got like a kids paddling pool or something. So, and I'm stuck indoors streaming. So, where are we going? Death Guard models are just too busy. Yeah, I mean they're nice and all, but I think you can do a lot of work with just regular Mark. I mean, to be honest, it'd be interesting to see what happens when that kind of rumored Mark III, Mark II kit gets released for Horus Heresy, because those will make some really nice Death Guard kits, but you could still make them look infected, but they wouldn't be over the top. You can maybe just have like pockmarked armor, maybe a few tentacles here and there, nothing too over the top, and that would hopefully solve the problem of the busy Death Guard models. So yeah, right, I think that's not far off. Okay, as smooth as possible. What I might do is just run over. Let's just run over a flat file, see if that helps any. The Death Guard I'm planning are going to be less busy. Yeah, I think this kind of gives me an idea for a video actually. If those models do get released, it'd be quite nice to do a more simplistic Death Guard. Still class them as Chaos Space Marines, and maybe load them out so they match their 40k equivalents, but well, maybe not as infected. I mean, to be fair, if I remember the old Death Guard models before they released the plastic ones, they were a little bit more straightforward, because they were kind of like, they were essentially regular Chaos Space Marine miniatures, but they had like these distended torsos and some different heads, and I think some of the guns had like a little bit of like extra skin, but there wasn't like giant mouths and tentacles and everything going on. Okay. So I think that's looking pretty smooth. Sometimes it's hard to tell exactly because it's just grey plastic. You can usually get a feel for it if you just run your fingers over it. We can cover any mistakes up anyway, so that's not a problem. Okay. Perfect. So we need to start thinking about how we're going to load this up. So one of the things that I noticed, if you look on the torso here, you normally have this little position here around the waist where they have like a little detail extra bit going. But it's too ornate, it's too fancy for want of a better phrase. So I'm thinking we're going to use some pouches to cover that area up. So let's dig into the bits boxes and find ourselves some pouches. So this is my Space Marine bits box. It's basically just one of those kind of fish and tackle bottle. You can see the mag reel. And what I've done is I've tried to organise this as best I can. Let's adjust the focus there so everyone can see. Perfect. So what I've tried to do is to group each of these sections by components to make it easier to find parts. So these are heads. These are helmeted heads. These are unhelmeted heads. Shoulder pads. I've got right arms, left arms, some shields there, some sniper rifles, magazines for rifles, some Dark Angels bits down here, and this is what we're after, pouches. This is my little pouch section. As you can see, it's actually not as much stuff in there as I thought, because I keep usually dipping into here for various different things. So what's that there? A few little pouches that I've clipped away. What's this? So this I think is from the Eliminators, so these might be quite useful if we take away that purity seal. Let's keep that there. Hey Pete, it's Kabuski again. Good to see you again. Thank you for joining the stream. Made a Kitbash of a Deathwatch Salamander Terminator. Deathwatch? You mean Salamander Terminator. Terminator. I think I got the sizes correct, but I suspect you've had more hands-on experience with Terminators than Kill Team Cassius. Oh yeah, I know what you mean. I actually had that model. It's not in any of the boxes I've got prepared, but I do actually have that. I know where that kit is. Let's have a quick look. Is it on Instagram? Let's see if we can find it on Instagram. I'll move this over here so we can see. Uh-oh. Right. Okay. Okay, this is the one. Oh, God. That's one. I can just about see it there. So I'm guessing you've used the new legs there. So in my experience, you're going to find that maybe the bottom is going to be a little bit top. It's going to be a little bit bottom heavy. I think for the most part it should be okay. So it won't let me zoom in, so let's just zoom in. There we go. I think you could use the arms though. I use some regular Grey Knight Terminator arms, so yeah, you could probably stick the arms on the new torsos. What I'll do is, if I'm in that bits box anytime soon, I'll have a quick look. The arms haven't changed all that much in length. It was mainly the legs and the torso that have gotten bigger. You could probably take the head and all the extra little bits of gubbins, but yeah, I think the torso probably will be too small. But yeah. here. Hopefully that works. Anyway, it's getting sidetracked here. Tabletop and face. Perfect. Wonderful. Okay, so we were looking for pouches. So I don't think there's many pouches in here that are going to be as particularly useful, because obviously it's an aggressor. So things like these pistol pouches won't really be of much use. And I mean, to be fair, most of these pouches wouldn't be that much use to an aggressor because they've got power fist. But the theory that I always tend to go with these kind of things is the pouches aren't necessarily for him to use mid-battle. Maybe they're just on the armor so that when at the end of the battle he can take off his big power fist. Gauntlets actually use the equipment from areas to repair or maintain his armor, or other people can do the same. So that's kind of the deal that we're going with here. Okay, no, not really any pouches in here. Let's dip into the actual big bits boxes. Right. Okay, so we just need to find the appropriate kit. Now, if I remember rightly, the regular intercessor kit's got some nice little pouches that we can use there, so I'll keep those to one side. Heavy intercessors might be a good option. I think there were pouches on this, but they were attached to... So they're quite nice big pouches they are, and they have knives, so I don't know how useful they'll be for this, but... there, perfect, that'll be good. Let's grab that one. Same one? Yeah. There's not as much S in there. This might be cool. Let's grab that. I think there's one of these in the regular incest kit as well. Eliminators. Yeah, these tend to be better for regular kind of intercessor phobos scale, but these are good. These are the infiltrators and incursors. These have really great patches for these kind of things. There we go. Let's grab some of those. Let's grab one of those, and you know what? Let's keep one of these handy, one of these sprues handy, and then dip into it if I need to later on. Cool, that was easy enough. Right, so we've got a few pouches, we've got a few little extra details, and just headbutt the microphone there, sorry guys. A few pouches there that we can use. And we need to see. Thank you, Yankee, for pinning that Discord. Yeah, if you're not actually in the Discord, please do go over and check it out. I should be in there a lot more often than I actually am. So, but I do trend to be in there as often. Right, let's just see. Catch up on the chat. Koik, good evening. Good evening to you. Welcome to the chat. Dr. Rhino, welcome as well. That's the voice I'm looking for. Raptors definitely have a pouch just for spent bolter shells. I mean, you've got to collect them, haven't you? You've got to keep them, reduce, reuse, and recycle. Hopefully catch more later. I'll see you later. Thank you very much for raiding. Thank you. Pete is an orc. Yeah, pretty much. I'm also a kleptomaniac orc. Dorian Clampit. Something Space Marine Blood Bowl team. I mean, it could work. I don't know what you'd run them as. You probably need to run something quite big, and you'd probably need to dip into something like retro Space Marines, when Space Marines didn't actually have gauntlets. They just kind of had armor up to their wrists, and you could have like the footballs in the hands. But yeah, you could do that. Yeah. Downfall 1027. Hey Pete, I wanted to say I love your painting style. It's very unique, and I'm happy to see you add more painting tutorials in your videos. Thank you very much. Do you actually take a lot of extra time to add the painting tutorials? So I'm glad that people do enjoy them, and I don't feel like I'm just doing them and people watch the conversion part and then just dip out of the video after that. So yeah, do thank you very much. I can see the new Mark III armor being popular with Iron Warriors players. Yes, definitely. Lots of people are going to be really happy about those. I think a lot of people will be doing some firstborn armies once we get some of those as well. Anyway, right, let's get back to this. So we've got the torso that we had earlier. We want to add, let's just adjust that focus so we can get a better look at it. Perfect. So what I might do is is that a bit too much? Does that look like too much? It's hard to see, isn't it, when it's not against the torso. It's quite difficult. And what I might do is I might actually assemble the rest of the torso, because I don't think it's going to make much difference. There's nothing else that I need to remove from any of these parts anyway. So what I might do is go ahead and assemble the torso, and that should give us a better idea as to whether or not things are going to work, and it'll give us a little bit more. Is the goal to build enough for a 2K army? I would like to. It would be nice to build a full army, but we'll see. So I think there's an ad break due up in a few seconds. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit here and just glue this, and I will probably see you guys in a minute. Of course, if you're a Prime or a subscriber, then you get to sit here with me. So exclusive chat. I assume that's how I'd work on Twitch. Again, I'm not sure. See you in a bit. Right, so I think I need to top up my glue, because I'm kind of getting to the stage where I need to shake the bottle to get enough. Now you can, I know with these glue sticks, you can actually start pulling out these bristles to make it a bit longer. Every time I've done that, it's fell out, so I'm not sure if it's actually intended to. But better safe than sorry. I'm not going to do that again. Okay, let's get the clamps out for that. Okay, we'll keep that clamped. Can I attach these whilst it's clamped? I can. That makes life easier. It's literally just flung across the room. I'm going to have to find it back in a second. That's good. Managed to do it before the ad. Welcome back, folks. I think if you've just been on the... you may have just seen an ad. I don't know. I got told by the Twitch thing that I've got open says there was an ad running, so if there wasn't, then... Is this the right leg? If you could still see what was going on then, I attached a clamp to the torso after I was gluing it, and the torso just flung halfway across the room. So yeah, great. That's the kind of stuff that gets edited out my main videos. So yeah, it's a great thing about these live streams. You get to see everything, all those little mistakes happen live in person. I think we've got Marco Frassoni from Not Just Mecha. Thank you very much for joining the stream. How's it going? I know you're Marco's also streaming on Twitch as well at the moment. How's it going? A little behind the scenes. Yeah, it's like, that's the thing about doing tutorials edited versus doing live stuff, because when I do everything for a video, it's obviously all edited. If a particular take doesn't go very well, I can just shoot it again. Sometimes you have to do it once, and if you don't get the shot right once, it doesn't work, which is why every now and again, if you watch a video, sometimes It mainly seems to be in the painting steps, but sometimes I'll just like kind of like miss a step, and you don't always notice it. Usually that's because I thought I've pressed record and I actually haven't done. So just to show you how much of a professional I actually am. But yeah, like all the voiceovers are all pre-scripted. I record that separately. I don't record in camera, so it's all very much, all of the mistakes are cut out, all of the waffle is cut out. But you get to see it all on live, so great. I think that's how teleportation actually works in 40k. Yeah, wouldn't surprise. It's about the same. Getting eaten by a clamp. Yeah, to be honest, last stream the clamp actually broke, so I'm not having great time with these clamps. Got to put it in the video now as a jump cut. Marco, pretty good, thanks. I'll be in stream in 15 minutes, but I'll check the VOD later. Well, good luck with your stream. I hope it goes well. If you're still streaming by the time this stream finishes, we're going to be streaming till like 10. Well, for the next 2.5 hours, so we're going to be for a while. So if you're still streaming, then I'll try and figure out how to do a raid, and I'll join you there. So I'll check first. Right. Okay, so we've got a little bit more of the model now, so we can start seeing how this is going to look. So let's get a little bit of blue tack, and we'll do a dry fit. So I think maybe all 4 looks a bit weird. It looks like too much. I think there's too much going on around that area. It kind of looks like almost like a loincloth. If we imagine that the top ones have been removed and we just had those kind of bottom ones running there instead. So the problem I've got here is the torso slightly twisted off the leg, so what I'd maybe need to do is cut there, glue these pouches to the front, and then glue these smaller pouches more at the top. Let's cut this in half and see how it looks after that. So these, if I remember rightly, work best if you basically just apply pressure. There's already a little groove there anyway. Just going to keep my fingers out of the way. And Nifty Biscuits, how did you find UKGE? So I went there on the Sunday, and I probably should have gone for 2 days because there's just so much stuff going on. It was ridiculous. There was so many demo games, wargaming stuff, board game stuff, tabletop stuff. It was ridiculous. I just didn't get enough time to go around to see everything that I wanted to. But I got to see a lot of my viewers, a lot of people who follow me on YouTube and that came to say hi, which was always great. It was great to see people in person. Met up with a few of the creators as well, which was always good. And I was saying this to a few people at the expo, is that I actually preferred it over Warhammer Fest. So while Warhammer Fest was good because it was very focused and everything was very much Warhammer focused, it was good because that was just the one thing that you had to worry about. But then in a way it was like oversaturated and there wasn't really enough stuff. There's so much stuff at UKGE. Warhammer Fest, anyone who did that for 3 days is a trooper, because I think after one day, and I did the hobby challenge for most of the day, I was pretty much done with it. I couldn't really be bothered to queue up 4 hours to play Leviathan, and yeah, so if you ever get a choice to go to either UK Games Expo or Warhammer Fest, unless Warhammer Fest starts getting a bit better, then I would say Games Expo. Right, okay, so I think that's should give us a little bit of Let's just trim this down as well. Make these actually look like 2 pouches rather than being cut away. So we're 35 minutes into the stream, and we've already done more conversion work than we did in 2 hours of streaming on Wednesday. So I think definitely there is definitely a it's definitely better to prep before I come into these. So if we look at it like this, let's get some more blue tack. Let's attach these and get an idea of how these are lining up. So if I put the smaller pouches higher up, like that, I might even remove them completely and just put them somewhere else. Are there plans for future conversion videos with the new Tyranids? Well, so someone suggested to me, I think it was in the Discord suggestions actually, to rebuild the old kind of retro zoanthrope, which had legs and kind of claws rather than just being this little like floating snake thing. And that I really like the idea, and I think the new maybe Screamer Killer could probably be used to be as a basis for that. So yeah, maybe. I'm not 100% sure yet, but possibly. Okay, as a dry fit, what are we thinking of that? Let's adjust the focus here so you can actually see what's going on. Professor Grimm, thanks to you, I finally started my Frostgrave Warband using the Warhammer Underworld's Undead and a Warcry Undead kit. You're very much welcome. I'm glad, because Frostgrave is one of those games where you can get away with a lot of kitbashing and converting. There's lots of options to modify units. Excuse me. It's time for a drink. Demented Kilvo subscribed for 1 month at tier 1. Thank you very much. I did miss that, so thank you very much for your subscription. It's much appreciated. Kiwi, any plans to do the new NIDs like Zerg from StarCraft? Hand on heart, I've never actually played StarCraft. I know the Zergs, what they are, but I don't know them enough to be. I'd probably have to look into it and actually check to see what they look like. But I know there's definitely kind of Tyranid influences going either way. I mean, StarCraft is basically kind of the humans, and StarCraft are basically Space Marines. That's almost heretical to say. Yeah, I actually did on my Twitter. I don't know if you saw someone. I've never played Diablo, any of them. So I said, "Well, is the new Diablo worth it?" And I kind of got a few people who said it is. It's very grindy. A few people said don't get it just because it's Blizzard, which I totally get. But yeah, I've never played StarCraft. I played a little bit of World of Warcraft when I was younger. But yeah, when I was a teenager, RuneScape was my thing anyway. Not World of Warcraft. Right. So I think that looks okay. I think once the arms are in place and maybe we add some more stuff to the chest. I'm not 100% sure about this. It's a bit difficult, really. I need something to cover this area. I know that. The problem with Aggressors is they actually have this kind of extra armor segmentation, which the heavy intercessors don't have, which means you can kind of use like a normal belt system here. It's a good spot to put a symmetry card. You must construct additional patterns. I recognize that. That's something that I vaguely recognize. I never played so I didn't play StarCraft. I played Command and Conquer games. So I was a massive Red Alert fan. Really enjoyed that. Tiberian Sun. World Cash 629. You did redeem a Hydra. I think I actually had a drink around the time you sent that, but let's just have another drink. Shadow 2751. You would like to see more Dornian Heresy stuff? Yes, I will probably be doing some next. So the video, I'm currently working on video, but after that video is done, I will probably be working on another Demon Primarch. So you shall see very soon. Blaholtzen, I am only 50 minutes late to this time. Well, technically it's only 40 minutes because we start the stream 10 minutes early, so not too late. And we've got another couple of hours to go. Okay. Have I missed any comments about the pouches yet? Are there any key tips on how to improve a person's kit bashing abilities? So apart from watching my channel, one of the things is just try it. If you've never kit bashed before, then start small and then move up to more interesting kit bashes. But yeah, it's just all about experimentation. You tend to get an idea of what works and what doesn't work as you do more kit bashes, so you kind of get a good grasp of what will work and what won't work. Yeah, and sometimes you will make mistakes. It's always going to be the case with kit bashing. Sometimes things you think will work just don't work, and sometimes they work exceptionally well, and it always surprises you. But that's how you learn. But yeah, Space Marines are extremely forgiving for kit bashes. So if you're looking for a specific miniature to try, then I would recommend giving those a go. They tend to be much easier to do kit bashes with. Oh, let's just go kind of crazy with these pouches around the waist. Let's stick some of these pouches in as well. Remind me of my Void Scions Pocket Marines. Yeah, let's just go crazy. I say go crazy. Let's put 2 pouches in them. Oh my god, so crazy. Most controversial stream on Twitch. With kit bashing, I live by the mantra, it is what it is. Either it works or it doesn't. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't work initially, but you can fix it. Sometimes it just doesn't seem to work, and then halfway through, like suddenly, actually, this does actually work really well. Talkeen. Hey Pete, this is day 3 of asking for the Gaunt's Ghost box to make Cypher's Kane and retinue for your Valhallan army. This is the thing now. I did a video to say that someone had commented every day for 60 plus days, and so I thought I'd do the video, and then everyone's gonna be asking me every day. Thing is though, every time someone does it now, it's going to go up, so it might be more than 60 days this time. It might be 90 days. We'll see how far people push these. It's usually until I kind of run out of ideas and someone has got a really good idea. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do that. Which is basically what the Keldor Drago was. I was trying to think what I could do with the new box, and I thought, well, it's a Terminator. Keldor Drago's a Terminator. I enjoy kit bashing Grey Knights. Let's go ahead. Let's go crazy. Let's give in to peer pressure. Man, look at that. There's the tweezers. Right. Let's try that again. Doubles every time. Yeah, so what would it be if we went off 60 last time? It goes to 120. It's like a third of a year. We get to the point where someone's going to have to ask every day for over a year before I do anything. When things don't stick, just glue more. Oh, Jesus. Again, this is all the stuff that you don't see in the normal videos. All the fiddly little bits. You see the final shot. Genuinely, there are some files where I'm trying to stick a component onto the surface and I try about 6 or 7 times. And then on the video, you just see me do it once. It's like, yeah, straight away. Dead easy. Okay. Okay, quite happy with that. Covers the... this is tucked in a bit. Oh no, it's all going to pot. What's going on? Right. There we go. I'll leave that for the time being. I'll let that dry for a bit. Use Plastic World, one shot, one pouch. Yeah, so I haven't used that myself. I've got some fast drying Tamiya that would probably be better, but I quite like having a little bit of malleability at first. There's a video suggestion section in our Discord just in case you missed it. Yes, there is. Please do, if you are on Discord, please do leave your suggestions there. I do always read that group. I do keep up to date with it, even if I don't necessarily comment in there. I do see everything that everyone posts. Dunian Heresy Deathwing from those Terminators would be beautiful. Yes, they would be. Gotta say, I am extremely glad I have tiny hands because I forget how small of this stuff is sometimes. Tiny artist hands go. Yeah. Are you the guy that asked on YouTube in the oh no, that's not asking me. I just thought people were talking to me. Let's scroll down. First time chat. Fog Battleship Warspite. Peter Wargamer, greetings. Huge fan of yours, I'm guessing. I got a question. I am making a Kassakin Grenadier company. Any ideas on how to make a command squad or a flag bearer? So you can probably get some components from. Let's just adjust this. There we go. You can probably get yourself some components from the Tempest Scions. They're kind of the same thing. The hands at least be in scale. You might need to basically remove the hands. There's a flag bearer in there. There's a medic in there. Yeah, you can probably get away with a few stuff because there's a few components in there with it being a kill team. So if you can get the kill team version, you can get like a few parts to represent Command Squad. The belt of pouches kind of feels like a credit, like the credit belts on Django and Boba Fett. Yeah, good. That's always quite a good inspiration actually. Star Wars is really good for that kind of thing, especially the Mandalorian, how they've got all different armor and things like that. If you remember me, I did mention how I had steady artist hands in the Castle Dragon program. I cannot move furniture, but I can draw tiny things. I mean, you just got to lean into what you're good at. Some people are very good at doing little fiddly bits, and I've kind of gotten good at doing little fiddly bits. So if anything ever needs fixing, people are usually the first ones to come to me and be like, "Oh, Pete, can you fix this for me, please? Because it's small and fiddly and needs gluing back together." I think my problem was I was actually adding the glue in the wrong place. So let's add the glue a little bit higher up this torso. That's better. So the thing is about plastic glue, it's quite good. Even though it doesn't always stick as precisely as you want it to, it does give you the option to adjust it if you need to. I know some people just assemble their models with super glue. It's crazy. I mean, you can stamp things off, I guess, which is the advantage. Okay. Cool, let's leave that there for now. Let's let that dry. We won't touch that for a few seconds. Have a quick look in the chat. Any advice for kitbashing a 10 to 12 foot tall Chaos or Loyal Space Marine? With 3D printing third party be the only feasible way to achieve that kind of mass? It would be difficult. You could maybe do something around the lines of Centaurians or something like that, but having that kind of size would be difficult. 3D printing, yeah, you could literally just get a normal Space Marine and just scale it up and print it out a little bit bigger. New segment, not dead animal bits, but needless pouches for knickknacks. I think my old one on those videos was handy storage bits. I had that kind of nice 3-time things. Lord Inquisitor Ignis. Evening, chaps. Good evening. Welcome to the stream. We're actually 76 viewers, which I think is still beating out the last stream, which was on 72, I think it was last time. We got to 80 earlier. Right, okay, so whilst I leave that, I can actually start assembling these gauntlets. I've gone for the Flamestorm gauntlets, basically, because I think I quite like the rules for them. They are I don't know, the Boltzmann gauntlets are good, but I don't know. There's something about the flamers which just seem more fun. I think the Boltzmann gauntlets are good because you can get the Fragstorm launcher things on top as well. But I don't know. The flamers just seem cool. They seem more Raptors to me. One idea I did have when I was coming up for ideas for this, which it wouldn't be easy to do, I'd probably need to dip into 3D printed parts or a third-party kit, something like that, was to take the Boltzmann gauntlets and instead of having a little stubby bolter barrel, actually having like a really nice long 30 cal style barrel. I'm not sure how to get enough though. I think maybe you could do something with the Horus Heresy weapon kits where you get loads of weapons. But yeah, we've got the gauntlets there. Perfect. Those are ready. Right, so the heads that I was thinking of, we can probably mess around with the heads, was actually some Reaver heads. I think the skull motif works quite nice. That might work quite nicely there. So I pop that in. Hopefully we can get it back out again. It just adds a subtle difference from the original. These do fit in. There we go. Kind of remind me of Ghost from Call of Duty as well. I think that might work quite nicely for this. Let's leave the head for a time being. I'll do the arms and get an idea of how the arms get positioned, and then that'll give us a good indicator of which way the head should be facing. Let's glue the arms in. Right arm first. And then the left arm. Perfect. Okay, let's leave that to dry for a second before I do anything else with it. Excuse me. For some reason, those helmets always look like a Space Marine with chapped lips to me. Yeah, I know what you mean. Kind of reminds me of the guy from Hocus Pocus, the one who's got like his lips sewn together. I don't know why. Could you maybe do something similar to the previous heavy guy with the Reaver head in it? That would be cool. What did I do with them? Did I put the extra armor in there? I didn't from one of the kits, if I remember rightly. I actually got it over there. Let's go grab him and use him as a reference. Okay, there he is. Yeah, so what we did previously was, it was I always forget the names of the fly people. They had these kind of helmets in there just to make it a little bit more enclosed. You know what I should have done? If I'd actually pre-planned this video a little better, I would actually have had my Leagues of Votan bits box handy, but I think that's in the garage at the moment, so I could have maybe used some parts from that one. Inceptors, yeah, that's the white one. So yeah, I think I didn't really do an awful lot. Mainly just pouches. This is a heavy incisor, a little bit more forgiving. You can see what I mean about the kind of the belt areas, a little bit more like a regular incisor belt. Yeah, I really like this head. I'm glad the direction I went with that. So these have the enclosed helmets anyway. The big difference between these and the Aggressors. So yeah, I think it kind of has that same style. And also, it's a little bit different from the original kit. What I would like to do is maybe add a little bit of detail to one of the sides of the chest. Maybe not even a pouch this time, maybe something else. We'll see. These might need cleaning up a little bit. Cool. Right, let's try and glue this into place and try not to get glue everywhere or drop the model. So again, this is another one of those situations where you're getting to see everything live. And normally in a video I'd do this in one deft motion, but it's not going to be the case in here. Oh, I did it. There you go, look. Perfect. The pressure didn't get to me. I don't know, I've got my headphones on. I can't actually hear anything. I tried to have some notifications come through, but nothing's coming through, so it's kind of pointless. Just sat here with headphones on. Okay. So yeah, I think we need something on this chest, because at the moment there's a lot of weight to the model around this midsection. The shoulder pads will help, so if let's go with the flared bits facing forward for this one. So you can see here it has a lot of kind of empty space now in this chest area. Obviously removing that crest has freed up a lot of space, so we need to make sure we put something in here just to balance it all out again. The heavy inserters aren't as bad because you have the rifle going across, but yeah. Got an ad break coming up in a few seconds, guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look through my bits box, see if we can find anything to place here, and I'll speak to you in a bit. Right, if you are not having to watch an ad right now, then yeah, we can probably go for something. So I clipped this little component off. That might work quite well. It's kind of a little bit techy without being over the top. That's an option. One of the other boxes that I've got nearby is, actually, let's have a look on this kit, the Infiltrators kit. These guys usually have a few extra little nice little details, bits and bobs that we can possibly add. Quite like these. I'm not sure how well they'd work. Grenades, again, probably wouldn't work all that well. Intercessors. Lots of pouches there we could use, but again, I don't want to necessarily do much in the way of pouches too much. I might stick some pouches around the back, but we do have the pipes and the vents and everything to go there. So let's have a look inside of the Astra Militarum arm boxes. Let's try those. Okay. Unknown Siren, thank you very much for reminding me to take a drink. I shall do that right now. Water bottle. I quite like the idea of the Promethean tanks. It's very Space Marine to be like, yeah, I've just got some. I quite like these bed rolls. I don't think they'd work on the front of the armor that well. It kind of looks like it's got a big bow tie on it. It's the tuxedo equivalent to this armor. So what I'm looking for, really, like I said, is something which is a little bit techy, not over the top. Something a little bit. Someone suggested a radio. That's a good suggestion. There might be something in these new Cadian. Oh, here we go. Here's got some cassock in, as someone mentioned earlier. These tank handles are really nice. I wish there was just a kit that just had these in, because handles are just ridiculously helpful and handy for when you're doing tanks and anything like that. What's this? So this is the artillery units. Just bend wire for handles. So I have tried. for bigger vehicles and stuff like that, you can do it, and I have looked at investing in one of the kind of proper wire benders. But it'd be nice if there's little smaller ones, like little finer plastic ones you could do. And I've always struggled as well because whenever I've seen like really good scale modelers do bent wire, they have to drill into the surface, and I think it's always difficult to get really tiny holes to drill in. I'm not finding anything that's really standing out to me. Let's try the command squad. Let's see if this is anything interesting. Again, nothing's jumping out. More Cassican. More Cassican. Some more parts from... What is that? More command squad parts, I think. Promethean tank seems to be winning. I tell you what, let's should we do a poll? I've never done a poll before. Let's Yankee, have you got the as a moderator, can you set up a poll? Pete's pulling all these sprues out of the black hole bits just out of frame. It does feel like that. Do you keep all your bits on their sprues, or do you have a more classic bits box as well? So I do both. I keep all my kits on the sprues because quite often I'll just take a few parts from that. Now you found the poll option. I mean, I can do it myself. It's fine. I just wasn't sure if you can do it. So I have big 9-litre really useful boxes that I basically put all my stuff in there. Sometimes it's easy to keep stuff on a sprue because I can just look at the sprue, and if I know that a part is on a particular kit, like intercessors or something like that, I can usually find that. But if I've kind of gotten most of the parts off a sprue, then they'll go into a regular bits box just because it's just safe space, saving space. Let's have a quick look in here again. Let's see if there is anything in here that we can use. Battlefield repair plate, like from your Votan champion. Could do. I was trying to avoid doing any green stuffing if I could, but that might be an option. I like to keep things categorized in Ziploc bags. Let me look through what's in there with no risk of dropping it. It's a good idea, yeah. This is, I mean, I've dropped these before. I've got these little sets. You know, actually, what's a good idea is, I've got to find them now. I've got some Hell Blasters somewhere, and they have lots of little Promethean tank things, which might actually be a good option. So, if Yankee's able to find the poll option, we can set up a poll. If you can't find it, though, I can set it up. Don't worry. So is that no to a Raven skull? So I'm not sure about it. I think skulls work, but I'm not sure really. I don't know. I quite like skulls for more of like the gothic looking chapters, but I'm not sure if I want that for this direction that I'm going for with these guys. A chain of skulls over a Promethean tank. Go full into the wacky space. Or was it 2 Chaos Boys? Oh, some pouches there. Let's grab those pouches. This is the Assault Intercessor sprue, by the way. Grab some more pouches. The Assault Intercessor is great because you have these really nice kind of holsters that you can use. Pretty cool. Oh, and also just random chain swords that you can just attach to the belts, which is always nice. Looking for Hell Blasters. I think Poll is live. Okay, what is the poll? I actually can't see it from here. Promethean tank, pouch, skull, or something else. So Promethean tank has currently got 3 votes. Something else has got 2 votes, and pouches and skulls have got nothing. Okay, so Promethean tank still in the lead, and 70%, 64%, 67%. Let's keep that going. It looks like it's going to be Promethean tank. So let's dig into the bits box. Let's see if we can find a Hellblaster so we've got some tanks to use. They're in one of 2 boxes. A smaller Terminator welded to his chest. 12 votes. I think we're going to. Do you have any advice for writing lore? Trying to work on something for my own Chaos Warband who follow Khorne and Nurgle, but so far all I got is a name. So when I've always tried to do homebrew chapters, it's sometimes quite good to work backwards from a name, because if you get a name, like go on those random name generators or something like that, you can get a lot of mileage from just a name. So you first of all need to think, well, okay, what kind of aesthetic do I want to go for? So if you're going for Nurgle and Khorne, then you're going to want something knightly, I think. I personally, on the top of my head, I would think, okay, you want something which is very armoured to kind of fit into that Nurgle side, but then also something which is very proficient in weaponry. So Promethean tanks win. So yeah, let's dig out some. They're definitely in one of these boxes. Yeah, so going back to what I was saying. So for Khorne, I think off the top of my head, if you are familiar with Elden Ring, and I'm sure people will correct me in the chat if not, I think it's a Clean Rot Knight, if I remember rightly. They had this kind of slightly degraded, dilapidated look, which fit nicely into Nurgle, but then also with Knights, which had that almost noble aspect that Khorne has, and obviously they were red in colour. Khorne isn't just about rage, it's also about proficiency and combat. So yeah, you could really lean into the knightly aspect of it. Okay, I've got a feeling it's not in this box. Not in there. Let's close that box off. So yeah, if you guys have any queries about your own kit bashes you're not sure about, do feel free to leave those. I do keep on looking up at the chat when I can, but if I do miss anyone, then just repeat it a couple of times within, not too quickly after each other, but I should hopefully be able to give everyone advice who needs it. It's incredibly frustrating. I literally had Hellblasters. I was organising my boxes earlier and I put Hellblasters into one of these boxes. Found them. Let's get all 4 sprues out just in case. Let's put it to one side, and okay, so we have finally found the Hellblasters. So we're gonna go for Promethean tank. Let's see how we're gonna get this to work. So we have these little things which normally get attached to the actual plasma guns, but I've used these with good success. They kind of look like little Promethean canisters, especially if you painted them red. There are also the ones which are attached to the backpacks as well. Where are they? There. Cool. These ones as well. You know, I actually quite like this handle. You want to say anything about handles? It'd be really nice to maybe do that. Peter Turbo, fantastic name. Thank you very much for your subscription as well. Much appreciated. Yeah, you know what? I'm actually going to really borrow this because one of the things that I actually... I'm sorry, guys. I completely threw... I've thrown the poll out the window. It's not a legally binding referendum. Could cut off the cable and make some sort of plasma mine strapped to the chest. Yeah, like a claymore strapped to the chest. Yeah, I quite like this handle because if you look at the curve here, it's not too dissimilar to the curve that you see around that neck. It's if I lay them over the top, you can see that. You see it kind of follows. It'd be quite nice to stick that around that chest. That might actually fill in that gap. Pizza Turbo had to go for a sec. What kit is this? This is the Aggressors, yes. The only thing I've done so far is I've shaved down the crest and I've added these patches and I've added a Reaver head. There's going to be some other stuff on there added in. Kiwi, that's actually a pretty good idea. That gives me the idea of them being the loyalist Marines who are left dying on various battlefields from the Horus Humbug. Is that intentional, or is that like just a typo? The Horus Humbug, and turned from the people who abandoned them. Yeah, I quite like the idea. I mean, the bits you were looking at were they? No, these bits are Hellblasters. These are from the big plasma guys. So if I remember rightly, you can actually build them as 3 different types, and only one of the types actually uses these as attachments to the power packs, which means that in a box you get 10 of these, which means it's actually fairly cost effective. Probably I could probably buy a few of these if I wanted to expand these out into an army. Strap a guardsman on the chest, Operation Human Shield. Well, this is the thing, it's that whole kind of meme that was going around a while ago about people putting reactive armor on everything. I was very tempted to do that because there's the new Desolator. The Desolators, the ones with the rockets, they had those kind of like that pattern that you often see on that kind of reactive armor. You could attach some of those. Right, let's go for one of these. I know I've completely thrown off the poll there. I do apologise, but we had a new unexpected container. I've lost my clippers. Oh God, found them, got them. I thought they might have ended from one of the bits boxes. Then I was going to say, I have to dig through that for 3 days. So let's grab one of these. The good thing about this is, even if... So the thing about some parts, when you use them, you'll clip one bit off and the rest of it's kind of useless. But this is actually still going to be useful because I've got all 3 of these here. I've got a pipe, which is always useful. And even if I removed all 3 of these and this little extra dome thing is kind of like... I don't know, you could use it as like an extra little add-on to the backpack because it surprisingly works quite well. Because it's designed to go over a dome, it fits onto existing domes. So you see how it's got little cut-ins there, and they line up with those. So even though these kits aren't necessarily designed to work together, they actually work surprisingly well. Anyway, let's not get sidetracked. So we're going to remove this, and we're going to attach it to the chest. I forgot how to spell heresy as English isn't my first and had to supplement Horus Humbug is perfect. That is perfect. I do like that. I'm going to refer to that as now. That's a great alternate word. Yeah, I am always amazed by people who can speak more than one language. It's pretty much most of the world apart from English speaking countries because we just get away with not having to speak any other language. I tried to learn German for a while. I don't know, a little bit, teeny bit of German. Nothing to actually get anywhere with. I would like to do more in the future. I'm just going to put this on the mat down here and do the cut in there. It's going to be easier, I think. Through and doing about Afrikaans, English, Dutch, and currently learning German. Yankee Pete joining the German gang. One of my favourite kind of German things I picked up on was like how in English we would say, oh yeah, of course, yeah, that's no problem, of course, is ja, natürlich. Natürlich. Which is naturally. Yes, naturally. But it sounds really condescending if you say it in English, but in German it just sounds like, yeah, natürlich. My biggest problem with learning German was the genders, mainly because it's like you have in English there isn't any, everything's just the, and then in German, like in French you've got two, and then German just comes in with three. And it's like great. So not only do I have to kind of figure out what each of these are, what each of these words are, but then also if they're masculine, feminine, or neutral. It's always fun. Cool. I think we managed to remove that fairly easily, just using the knife. Sometimes components work quite well. We might have to just clean this up a little bit. Really need to learn more languages. The only language I even wrote was Latin. It's pretty good if you enjoy Warhammer. You can just name everything Latin, which is pretty good. Which isn't very well. That's making me very judgmental of some Warhammer names. I got a passing grade in German. I did not deserve it. The last one also has three genders: feminine, masculine, neuter. Girl is neuter word, while woman is female word. So have fun with this. Oh, I know. I tried to kind of come up with little naming things. I think so. For beach is der Strand, which is masculine, and the only reason I can remember that is because I think, okay, well, D-Day happened on beaches, and there were men on the beaches, so beach is a masculine word, and then I think school is die Schule, which is feminine, and the only reason I can remember that is because when I was in primary school, all my teachers were women. So that's pretty much it. That's the only ones I can be certain of, and I'm sure maybe Yankee might even correct me on the, and das Baby, little baby. That's a neutral word. One of my favourite German words, though, because I think it's kind of pretty cool if you're a nerd and you're into like fantasy stuff, is the word for like pharmacy or chemist as apotheker. If I remember, it's like apothecary. It's pretty cool. Just going into the apotheker for. There we go. See, this is kind of the idea that I wanted. There we go. Schmetterling, butterfly, got to me. Yeah, it's quite a nice little word for butterfly. That is. I like how this started off as a kitbash. It's just me trying to remember the small amounts of German that. Krankenschwester is a good one. Means nurse. Yeah, I think it's Krankenhaus is hospital as well, which is pretty cool. I like German. German's quite an easy language to learn for English speakers because a lot of words are very similar. While there are differences, I think it's more similar than French or Spanish or anything like that. At least in my experience. I found German easy to learn at school, and when I tried to learn a little bit of it myself. Are we still going to see Promethean tank anywhere on the model? Possibly. We might see some around the back. I mean, it comes with some anyway, just for the standard kit. But yeah, it would be nice to actually have some on here. So I think attaching that across the chest works quite well. I'm not sure. Should it be further up? Should it be around the gorget there, or should it be lower down? So I think around the gorget kind of has a nice effect because it beefs up the gorget somewhat. It gives the idea almost like a roll bar, but it also gives me a little bit of blank space there. So yeah, double handle. It's been years since I built an Aggressor, so I really do not remember the kits. Oh, I have such a stupid encyclopedic knowledge of most Space Marine kits now. It's the most useless skill for anything outside of being a Warhammer YouTuber. I think the blank space balances out with the other details. So you're saying, so if we have it a little bit higher up, Yeah, I think as well, when I come to paint, it gives me an area to add some decals and things like that. If I do that, I'm really cutting down the areas. Let's attach the shoulder pads. I think that will give us a better idea. So I attach the shoulder pads like that. That's kind of how they fit on. I'll try and pick this up now. I'll do it diagonal. It looks a little bit wonky, that's the only thing. If I angle this the right way. How do you feel about that? Gives me a little bit of empty space there to work with when I come to. Also, this kind of negative space at the back as well, that will be filled in by the pipes, so maybe once those are on, it won't look quite as narrow in the middle. Imagine you take tow cables to the handle to drag the sled out from them. Yeah, just use them to drag him out from like the pile of Hormigaunt corpses that he finds himself deep beneath. Yeah, cool. Let's go for that then. Let's glue it to the chest, and we'll just go from there. Maybe what I should do in these streams is because I do want to go. I've never been to Germany. I've been to Austria, but I've never been to Germany. I would like to go to Berlin because I'm a big nerd when it comes to Cold War stuff. So obviously you want to go to Berlin, see where the Berlin Wall was and Checkpoint Charlie and all those kind of things. But I kind of wanted to learn a bit more German before I went, and I got quite into it, and then I don't know why, I just kind of didn't get as much time. I've never really got back into doing it. Maybe I should do the whole of the stream in really terrible German, and just have everyone in the comments, all the German speakers in the comments, just calling me out on how terrible I am. It's like someone like Juan Hidalgo, who's also streaming as well. He was streaming earlier. It's like he can speak English and he can speak Spanish and he can speak like incredibly good English, enough to do a YouTube channel in English, and then he just like speaks Spanish as well, like no problem. It's just, I don't know. We're very catered to us English speakers. All the films are in English, songs are in English. You go anywhere in the world and everything seems to be in English. There's no real reason to speak any other language sometimes. So we just kind of don't bother. But then the schools don't really push languages as strongly as maybe they should do. But, yeah. Anyway. That handles for when the Marine accidentally falls over, yeah, pretty much. If you need help naming him, I can use my rusty Latin to help. There we go. Yeah, that's a good idea. We can go for some sort of nice, like, Roman name. I actually have, like, a Raven Guard name generator, which is how I named all of my kill team. Actually forgot what I named all my kill team. I was trying to remember what any of them. I completely forgot. Schools here in Germany push so hard that we learn up to 2 different languages: English and either Spanish, French, and Latin. Sometimes Russian. Yeah, it's just. I mean, we didn't do any other languages until we were in year 7. Which is when you're between 11 and 12. And then we did languages. So one year we would do French, then the next year we'd do German, and then we'd like do French again. And then by the time you got to being 15 and 16, you only actually did languages it's different now probably. It was like 16 years ago since I left high school. But yeah, it's pretty much you just choose to do a language if you want to do one at that point, if you want to take it as further. But even then, I reckon the level of the language. Probably isn't anywhere near what other countries in Europe do. Cool. There we go. Look at that. We've actually we made some good progress in this stream, guys. An hour and a half, and we've pretty much done one of the models, which is not bad going. I'll need to probably try and do some of the other ones as well in the stream, as many as we can, and then maybe next time we can do some painting instead. Let's put those patches over there. His name needs to be Polo. Nice. Have you been to the Imperial War Museum and seen the big chunk of Berlin Wall? I've been to a Imperial War Museum. I'm guessing you're talking about the one in London, in which case, no, I haven't. I think I went to one. There might have been. I might be mistaken. One of the museums in Washington D.C., one of the Smithsonian Museum, that might have had a section in there. I feel like I've seen it, but I can't remember. We've got an ad break coming up in about 30 seconds. So what I'll do is I'm probably just going to start gluing the backpack on. I'll just follow the normal instructions, so I won't do any converting in that time. But if you are a subscriber, you can probably sit on the stream and see some me accidentally flick off components halfway across the room and have to go and retrieve them. So yeah, we'll... Also, one thing about Cologne is it's Cologne, isn't it? It's spelled differently in German. I think that's another thing. And we say Munich, but it's München in German. Right. Let's glue the backpack on. My college nearby has a section of the wall, really cool. Yeah, I mean it was a big old wall. I think when it was obviously taken down, people knew it would be of some cultural significance. A lot of it probably was saved and retrieved, and I think parts of it pop up in. I very vaguely remember watching a TV show a while back, and it was. I can't remember, it was probably one of those, like, if you're familiar with like Channel 4 and Channel 5 in the UK, you'll know exactly what kind of documentary I'm talking about. It was people who were like this woman who was in love with the Berlin Wall, and kind of got married to it or something. It was a really strange show. Showed like a little miniature model of a section of it that she used to keep in a house. Interesting documentary. Right, so this is how do these attach now? Okay, we're back from the ad. Nice to have everyone back. As you can see, I've done very little progress. You've not missed much. Right, so I've got to figure out how these attach now. I haven't actually built this variant of. I might have to resort to the instructions. So, does this piece attach to this? Okay. So I can see how these attach. There's like a little cables, 2 cables, and then that section goes into there. Okay, so that section goes like that, which means that this must go like that. Yeah, perfect. These are Fiddly kits. I forgot how fiddly these were. So you see what I mean by as soon as we start putting in those pipes, starts to fill out that kind of negative space that we have between the arm and the body. So when you kind of look at the model when it's painted, it doesn't look as kind of top and bottom heavy, and that build section is a little bit lighter. Which is one of those things that you need to often consider when you're doing kit bashes and conversions, things like that, because it's small little things which you don't consciously think about, but when you see the model it can look odd or it can look wrong because there are parts missing and things aren't scaled properly or they look too big, and I don't know, it's a hard thing to get your head around. But when you start noticing it and you can start figuring out how to see those things, it can actually really improve the quality of your kit bashes. Right, perfect. That's one. Yeah. Perfect. The one I really dislike is a person who married the Eiffel Tower and a year later went back to oh God. Yeah. There's some interesting TV shows. Very interesting. I mean, saying that, I mean, we're currently listening to a person who thinks YouTube as a full-time job, and builds plastic men for a living, talk about how little he knows about the German language and how terrible it is that he doesn't know more. Can this attach without falling apart? Oh, well, that's a really fiddly one. Ah, okay, I get it. Perfect. A little more glue there. Perfect. I think we've finished. Well, for the most part, we might add some extra little details here and there, but yeah, I think it's good. As a God player, or more in this case, God hobbyist, watching your vids with the kit bashes has really helped me to expand on what I can do to my Guardsmen. So thank you very much. Welcome, Fog Battleship Warspite. I'd say now as well, especially with all the new kits that they've released for Astra Militarum, there are some fantastic options for converting, because you can mix and match between just the Astra Militarum stuff, but obviously there's also a lot of Age of Sigmar stuff you can mix and match with. I'm sure when the new Cities of Sigmar stuff comes out, there's going to be lots of really cool opportunities to kit bash with those as well. That's giving you too much credit, to be honest. Where are we? Okay, am I caught up? So question, if you're doing an entire unit, how to individualize each chap? So I think, yeah, you've got to, going back to that earlier comment about how to kit bash and some kit bashing tips, one of the things is, and Lord Inquisitor Ignis, you very rightfully bring it up, is how you add a little bit of character to each person, especially in an army. You don't need to do an awful lot. You can just do something small, some small little extra detail. I mean, this guy could literally, he could be the only guy in the squad who's got this Reaver mask. It doesn't necessarily have to be the whole squad. It could just be him. The crossbar across his chest could be just on him, but I might probably do that across the whole unit. I've got enough of them. But yeah, I mean, if I'm all ears. If you guys have any suggestions of what we could do, maybe give this guy a little bit of personality, a little bit of a background. I think someone called him Pullus. Some names derived from keywords relating to burning stuff, since that seems related. Eruin, Rhetor, Rhetoridas, Exardus. Use or don't use, but they are all related. to this guy's gear. Yeah, I think it's a good idea as well. It's one of those kind of names that unless you did know what that was talking about, you wouldn't necessarily immediately assume that, oh, it's just Latin for fire or burn or incinerate or anything like that. So it's quite a nice way of looking at it, actually. Thank you for suggestions. 84 viewers. Look at that. We're going up in viewers. Magic. Yeah, so I think that's the base. I definitely think I'm going to go for the handle for each one. Definitely add some pouches. The helmet, I quite like the helmet, so I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that as the customization. So if you've got any suggestions for what we can add as personalization, we can come back to him. I might just put him to one side and start working on the next one. With the skull mask and the flamers and the up close and super personal feel, maybe make him a tad psychotic. Could do. TF2 Pyro does have a similar mask to that helmet. Yeah, so I think... Yeah, I'm just trying to think now, because I don't want to go too heavy on this, but maybe we could bring in some skulls. Maybe we could bring in the old dead animal bits. Maybe a Stern Guard helmet. Unfortunately, I don't actually have a Stern Guard kit. It's gone now. I kind of took a long time to go about getting that and completely forgot in the end. I tell you what. Let's keep the skull helmet as being his kind of personal little motif. But then it's really cool. I really like having lots of units of that. This is the thing. I'm very much in a pickle. Maybe a bit of a charred bone theme. So what's your main chapter? I'm curious. For this conversion, it's going to be Raptors. So everything's tactical. It's Raptors. Trying to remove as much of the superfluous decoration as possible. Try and replace it with stuff which is of utility or of use rather than just being decoration. That's the main goal. But then generally giving things a nice little theme. Corpse Grinder also have a nice non-chaos skull head. They do actually. I think I actually have my... Yeah, I did actually bring my Necromunda bits box in here. Out there idea. The backpack bit from the Halblaster you got from the desk has a quarter circle with maybe the fuel tank bits on. Maybe you can cut out the fuel tank bits on. Maybe you can cut out the quarter circle and use that as a decoration somewhere in the squad. This bit. So you're thinking this section here, this kind of... So ignore that bit and then add on those bits, basically. It's not too much work. I mean, you could, if you look at it in terms of cuts, so it'd be a cut across the middle probably, and then a triangular cut, and then a trim down. It's just where I'd put that. I mean, you could just attach it underneath these. That wouldn't be too much of a big deal. Attach it like across the chest like that. You have a Necromunda bits box, but almost no Necromunda content on your channel. Yeah, the thing is, I have most Necromunda kits because they're amazing for kitbashers. But I never got really into the Necromunda game or the background all that much. So it was hard to do kitbashers, but there we go. It's warm. It's making me sleepy. Then go check out your Necromunda on your Discord channel. I now have at least 4 to 6 bits boxes. Yeah, they do start to grow very quickly. I mentioned this in my last stream, I think, as well, but the if you watch Mediocre Hobbies, I spoke to him at Warhammer Fest, and he told me he just, when he's done with building a kit, he just empties out, he just chucks away the rest of the sprue with all the bits on it. I was just like completely gobsmacked. He did say he'll keep them though for me, and send them to me, so I'm waiting for those. Sinsaber OG, subscribe to tier 1. Thank you very much for the subscription. You know, during the privileged few who can get to see me fling models off whilst I'm clipping parts away during our break. So yeah, well done. Something that might make for a fun future kitbash challenge: making a space marine without using any space marine bits. Interesting. I mean, technically, you could just do like a Custodes or a Chaos Space Marine, but I'm sure that'll be against the rules. The bits must flow. Sure, that's banned by the Geneva Convention. I know. I mean, I get it, because if you're not going to be doing kit bashes and converting, then most of the time you'll just literally sit with hundreds and hundreds of bits just filling up a box for years and years that you'll never use. Now, for someone like me, I'm very much the opposite. I'll end up buying kits just for individual components and kits like that. So I've been painting while watching, and have finished an infantry unit of infantry scale Scaveok. Yes, I was quite impressed with, although I'm going to say this: you have spelled it incorrectly. I'll type it in how. Let me remember how to spell it myself. It's not Discord. There you go. Scrav-eok. Fungus people. Tosti, hello. Welcome to the chat. Good to have you here. Commence Exterminatus on mediocre hobbies. I mean, if anyone does want to check out his channel, please do. He's been doing... was it last week or the week before? I can't remember. He basically did like a Indomitus box in 1 week and did all the videos. I think he's doing Leviathan now. So yeah, really great stuff. But please do go check out his content and say that Pete the Wargamer is appalled that you get rid of your bits box. Your bits rather than putting them in a bits box. You mentioned using the new Seraphon to make Chaos Possessed Salamanders. I need those to happen. Yeah, I will do. I think I was actually trying to remember what was that idea that someone came up with in the chat before, but yeah, that was really nice. I do like the idea of doing more loyalist chaos version like Daunian Heresy or Routine Heresy, things like that. The amount of spare stuff I have for my OG Guardsmen is nuts. It's got 2 boxes of stuff for infantry. 2 boxes of stuff for infantry and 1 box for my armor. Yeah, it was crazy. The amount of stuff that you got from them. Even the new kits come with a ridiculous amount of stuff. Something fun for me is to draw and write 40k characters and then make minis for them. That's quite nice. I quite like doing something similar. So I often have like an idea. So I have an idea for a miniature, or I see a new model get released and thinking, well, you could use it for this, and then I create a background. And I always find that helps with kitbashing if you do create a little bit of a background and a little bit of lore for them, because you can start building the miniature to fit the lore. And then stuff makes sense within it rather than just sticking bits and seeing what works. Which brings me back to this guy. So I'm going to leave that as is. I'm going to build all 3, and then I'll maybe come back and add a little bit of customization to each one, because I think this is quite nice as a baseline. It's not too involved. I mean, for the most part, that's a head swap. That's pretty easy. I removed the chest eagle, added this, and added these patches. So repeating this on the next 2 guys shouldn't be too difficult. We might be able to get these mostly done by the end of this video. We'll see. He's amazing, but still Fury. My middle name on this, at least. Yeah, I think there's definitely an option there. Right, so let's remove both of these one after the other. I'll do this one first, and then I've got the other one here somewhere as well. Cool. Let's get this Twitch stream back up. Where is it? There. 90 viewers. We've hit 90, guys. Thank you everyone for joining the joining my Twitch stream. I'm also very grateful to everyone who subscribed, all my followers. Thank you very much. It's always good to do these streams. It's a little bit of a different kind of vibe doing these kind of streams versus doing videos. The videos are very polished, they're very planned out. The end result is obviously seen after 20 minutes. It might take me a couple of weeks to get these finished off, but it's more about the process, I think, and the fact that we can kind of communicate and you guys can have some input on what we do, and you also get to see a different side of the converting process, the ideas side, which doesn't always come across in the videos, because it's just like, oh, then I did this, then I did that, and you don't see, oh, well, I tried this and it didn't really work. I tried this and it didn't really work. But then I thought of this and that actually did work. So I said we got to 90, and then we suddenly dropped down to 80, 81. We're losing everyone now. It's like the state of an atom. As soon as it's observed, it changes. I think the smell of this glue is like making me cough. Oh dear. Oh dear, right. Let's carry on with these. I think I've scraped away more. As modifications go, this is probably the most common modification I ever do on miniatures. And to the point where I just wish Space Marine kits had come without these at all. And then you just glue them on as a separate piece, but no. It's why I quite like Phobos armor, because that most of Phobos armor just has like one skull or a skull and crossbones or something, so you don't have to remove much. It's already pretty much there. I do apologise if anyone really is disliking the scraping sound. I'm not sure how well it comes across on the microphone, but careful takeover. I've just got to look a bit of a sore throat. I kind of went to I was at a birthday party on Friday, and the music was just stupidly loud, so I just felt like having to shout to talk to anyone, and I gave myself a bit of a sore throat from it. And the glue's just like really irritating it. Normally it's not too bad because I can kind of just have the windows open, nice, well ventilated. I might just go open a window actually. I think the party's behind the house has stopped now. Just got here, what's he making? Well, technically we've already done this, so that's what we've done so far. We're doing some Raptors Aggressors, so that's the first one. We're going to be doing another one basically the same as that, and then we're going to kind of circle back and do some more modifications. Probably we might, or may not get this done on the stream. If we do get all of them built, well, actually, what I might do is I might continue to build them at least to the stage, and then in the next stream we can. I'm not sure. We can either customize them in the next stream, or I can get them prepped and we can do some painting. So, yeah. Plenty of room to carry snacks. Yes, it needs all those pockets. Snacks, shiny rocks, anything he finds interesting on the battlefield. Also, Yankee, if you're about, could you just do a quick poll, if you don't mind, just asking if, for the next stream on Wednesday, if people would prefer to see me continue to build these, or if they would like to see me start painting them, because I can just continue to work on them off stream. Or if they'd like to see me convert something else. Please, thank you. I should probably, I'll open a window in the next ad break. The Lehman Mix and McDorn's Alder Burgers. So yeah, the good thing about these streams is it's kind of making me do something that isn't just what I'm working on for a video. And whilst I like kind of doing videos. Right, okay, so what's the poll? Let's keep an eye on that one. I can't actually see it very well in here. Let's drop it into that. More Raptor conversions, Raptor painting, converting something else. I'm going to say though, anyone who votes for converting someone else, converting something else, sorry, does need to leave me suggestions for what you'd actually like to see me convert as well. Oh, we got some more chats. Let's drop that out. I'm a long-time fan. I plan on painting my own warriors with the scheme you used on your Halbrecht conversion. Didn't know you streamed. Well, that's because I only started streaming from Wednesday. So yeah, you've not come in too late. And that's probably why you haven't seen me stream before, because it's only in the last week that I've started. This question is, what do you have access to? I have access to lots of things. Lots of things. Kitbash, a firstborn librarian into Ilian Nastes, the half Aldar Ultramarine librarian. Now, I actually had an idea for that, because it was quite interesting, because I think I was in an argument with someone on Twitter or something, and people saying, "Oh yeah, the Warhammer lore is ground solid. It's never changed. It's always been the same." And then you go back to some of the old books, and you have like a half Aldar, half human Space Marine librarian. It's like, okay, that definitely changed. So we got next stream. We had a three-way tie. Perfect. Look at that. More Raptor conversions, Raptor painting, or converting something else. So I guess I get to choose exactly what it is. So I've got to do it all in one stream. I can do a 3-hour stream. I'll do the first hour is more Raptor conversions, the second hour is Raptor painting, and then the third hour is converting something else. Yeah, great. Okay. I guess it's dealer's choice. I guess I'll pick. I'll see how far I get with this one, and we can maybe do some painting. We can maybe do some converting. I'll see how I go. So it wasn't quite as neat with this gorget. So you can see we've got a few scratch marks in there. Just going to try and essentially buff them out. Not as neat as I would like, but I got distracted by looking at the poll. So cool, that's one done. Let's do the next one. Get that out of the way. Get all the boring scraping out of the way. We can actually start doing converting instead. Much better. The good thing about the Aggressor kit is that it's just 3 models, so it's actually quite nice to do little kit bashes with them. It's not as much of an investment as doing 10 intercessors or even like 10 guardsmen or anything like that. Much more straightforward. You don't need as many parts to do the conversion across the whole squad. I mean, the parts from the Hellblaster kit, one kit, or if you just bought the bits separately, you could do 3 Aggressor squads, which is pretty cool. Since we have a tie, I could do another poll and add a 4th option, reviewing models from the community like you did in your old streams. Yes, actually, that was a good point. I needed to set something up and I forgot to set something up for the stream. So yeah, maybe, yeah, do another poll. Same options as before, but the 4th option being a community one. And we'll just focus on going through people's miniatures that they submit. Please, thank you. Can't wait to get my hands on some of the Forge World Towed Artillery. It seems the new IG heavy weapon and ordnance battery crew would be the perfect size for those. Yeah, I think that's quite nice about the new Imperial Guard stuff. Mentioned it above, but could you do some Seraphon converted to 40k like the Slan have looked at the increasing chaos concursions and gone, well, we need these guys have messed up royally, guess we've got to fix it. There was actually, like, I very vaguely remember there being some rules in one of the old Lizmen codexes that allowed you to play them 40k or something like that, and it was basically like the old ones creations that you could have up against Space Marines, something weird. Yeah, that might be an option. They have that whole thing in AOS now where they basically travel through the realms on realm ships. Poll's live. Okay, let's see how this poll's doing. What are we doing? Okay, Painting Raptors is now taking the lead this time, so let's see if we might have a completely different outcome. Maybe people have changed their mind. Yeah, Kitbashing, something else, was leading very strongly last time, but it seems like Painting is taking the lead this time around. We've either had a completely new, different group of chanting paint, paint, paint. To be honest, paint would be I guess it'd be easier because it's just painting. You can prep everything ahead of time. I think as converting as well, you kind of need to have parts from lots of different things, and don't always have those parts to hand. So sometimes it's limiting. Sometimes you can go into a conversion thinking, oh yeah, I'll have an idea for this, and it just not work. And then other times you just find a random idea, like with the Hellblaster handle, and it comes out really good. So painting's always a lot more straightforward in that regards. You can pretty much plan out the scheme beforehand and just follow it to the end. Right, how are we on the poll? So 6 for Painting Raptors, that's taking the lead this time. Community Special has taken 2, actually trailing behind. Kitbashing more Raptors in second place, and running in the middle we have Kitbashing something else. 3 Riso, I blame your Raptors kitbashing video for me pulling the trigger and getting back into Warhammer. I wasn't able to replicate the colours well and settled on Black Templars. Well, first of all, I do apologise for getting you back into Warhammer. I know how expensive it can be, so sorry, apologise. But yeah, the scheme I used was a little bit difficult because I used an airbrush, so if you haven't used an airbrush, it's possibly a bit harder to replicate. One of the things that I'm tempted to do with these is basically start off with a colour primer. I know Colourforge do some really nice colour primers that I've used before, and they do like a nice camo green one, which could be a good option. What one? Painting Raptors. Okay. I feel like we could just keep running these streams until I get the result that I want. Just run another poll that just says Community Special and see if that wins. Yeah, painting worked. Now I need to get back to my homebrewed chapter, the Imperial Wardens. I quite like the name. It's a nice name, that is. Good solid name for a Space Marine chapter. Victory for pretty colours. I mean, we are talking about painting Raptors here. They're not exactly the prettiest of colours, just olive drab green and greys. Certainly not painting any pink horrors in this stream. Also, this is the thing. Whenever you watch a video and I say, "Oh yeah, just remove the chest eagle, remove that crest," and it's like a 10-second clip of it being there, and then a few seconds later it's gone. This is the reality. This is the dull monotony that involves scraping away chests. Like I said, a Dremel might work better, but I'm not going to use it on stream. It's a good way of removing most of my skin from my fingers. I might have a quick look at that one again. Let's have a look at the chat. I think I just probably spoke during the whole of an ad section. I completely missed that there was an ad going on, so I do apologise if I just randomly came back and started talking. Right, let's see. I have a nice section of greens going to use on my Leviathan T-Reds, so works out in the end. Do you have any other plans for conversion of kitbashes with Leviathan Space Marines? I love the Drago. Thought the tilt shield from the Knight worked really nicely. Thank you. So, something I'm working on at the moment is some redeemed. This is currently on my painting table, so it's being worked on. Still being painted. The armor is pretty much going to be that color. So these are former fallen Dark Angels who've been redeemed by Lionel Johnson, and they have become Primaris as well, because a lot of them are basically in the background. They're like missing eyes because you couldn't have cybernetic replacements because they didn't have the access to those kind of things. So I thought maybe it'd be interesting if a lot of them became Primaris and became their own little Stern Guard squads. So yeah, those are based on the Stern Guard from Leviathan. Half serious note, you polyp. Pete cooking with British food. Oh god. I mean, that pretty much limits me to what? Shepherd's pie, sausage roll. I've got a traitor chapter that I've had for a bit of fun. I had a bit of fun writing. The chief librarian yeeted their loyal chapter master into the maelstrom. Nice. That would be pretty cool. Like a chapter that's run by a possessed librarian. That's pretty cool. Every loyalist player is screaming heresy when you remove the eagle. I know. It's not necessary. Like I said, the infiltrators and reavers get away without it, so. Silver looks nice, thank you. It's going to be dulled down a little bit. It's still just the base layers. Corned beef hash. I haven't had corned beef hash in about 20 years. I had it when I was in the Cub Scouts. I had it at camp. That's what they fed us. Bunch of nearly teenage boys in a tent. They fed us corned beef and potatoes. Just not a good combination. Not a good combination. I managed to snag a Leviathan pre-order from Element Games. I love how the Stern Guard look, but I dislike how they've changed rules-wise in 10th edition. So, one of the things which is going to be interesting is I feel like some of the rules that have been released aren't necessarily going to be the final rules. So I know the first two codexes they're doing upon release of 10th edition is going to be Space Marines and Tyranids, so I'm wondering if anything changes with those. We might see a slight difference in the rules. They might be just doing something fairly straightforward and simple to get people going. We'll see. Polkadot Ninja. Hey Pete, I hope you have enjoyed streaming today. I think it would be awesome if you did some Loyalist Sons of Horus using the new Stern Guard. Nice idea. It's kind of similar to what I've done with the Redeemed. They're basically like a redeemed version of Dark Angels Fallen. The path of the tie again, it is. Dark Angels player, the Lion Forgiving and Bring It Back Former Fallen is my favourite newly added lore. Yeah, I think that's quite nice actually. It gives it a good vibe because it was always that uncertainty is whether or not the Fallen were chaos, some of them were, or whether or not some of them were loyalists and just didn't really like the Dark Angels, and the fact that the Lions come back and they've been like, oh well, we forgive you, you can come back as a normal Dark Angel kind of thing. I quite like the idea of maybe them as running as their own kind of units, maybe their own separate things, and just getting involved with the larger Dark Angels forces when necessary. So, because I imagine a lot of other Dark Angels would probably view them as suspicious. Anyone remember the advert, Shepherd's Pie, gonna bake you in hell tonight, gas mark 6 or Fahrenheit? I vaguely remember it. It rings a bell, but I can't think of it much. It's not like how they condense all combi weapons into a single, quite lackluster profile, and you can only take a heavy bolter. I liked running them with multi-melter and combi welters. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, because it could be the case that the reason why the rules are so basic to begin with is because they're just to tide people over with the Stern Guard that are in the Leviathan box set, where you get one which has got a combi melter and one's got a combi plasma. So when that gets released as a full kit, it might be the case that we see more options in that, and they might actually have rule profiles which represent that. So we can see. Faces and bases, Oyo Pizza, how's the weather there? It's like monsoon season here in the Midlands. Is it raining? I mean, I'm not far from the Midlands. I'm basically right on the border between Cheshire and Staffordshire. So I know I'm technically northwest now, but I'm nearly Midlands. It's dry here, I think, as far as I can tell. Yeah, it's dry. I wish it was raining. It'd be nicer, nice and cool. Bring the Fallen back into the fold and then put them under one of the grand orders that isn't used. Yeah, I quite like some of those orders. I forget the names of there's one of the Destroyer one, which is pretty cool. There's the Iron Wing, is it? One of them is like the tanks. I did read up about them a while ago. I forget everything. Still going to build and paint them. They're cool looking. I'm planning on painting my Space Marines as Minotaurs. I've been meaning to take some spare Assault Intercessors as practice sometime before the box arrives. Yeah, I would definitely give something a little bit of practice before you start on that, because most people are only going to be able to get their hands on one version of that box set unless they Dreadwing. That was it. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, as Danky Yankee said, quick reminder there is that also a suggestion section in our Discord server. Link is pinned at the top of the chat. Yes, there is. I do like to read through those, so if you have any suggestions, I always have a look. Don't always respond to everyone, but I do always like to keep an eye on what's in there and make a little sneaky note of anything that I like the idea of. Put it on my list of things to do, which is always getting bigger. It tends to grow faster than I can actually keep up with it. That's the problem. If it takes like 2 weeks to make a video and I have more than one idea in 2 weeks, you can see how it doesn't really work. Okay, right, enough scraping. Let's get one of these other torsos assembled, and we need to kitbash a new Pete. Yeah, I need someone to help me, really. Yeah, that'd be great. Just clone myself and get the clone to do all the boring parts like scripting and editing, and I'll just do all the fun conversion parts. It's a good idea. What time is it? 9 o'clock, so we've got another hour of the stream. We may just get one more of these done. Maybe two. Fingers crossed. Depends how distracted by the chat I keep getting. I just kind of sit there just reading the chat and like, oh yeah, I should actually be doing something. Just realise it's probably not quite as interesting to just see a guy looking off to the side at his computer screen answering comments. Right. Put the legs on. Perfect. What model base would be Kitbash Pete from? My model's on the avatar of Kane. There's a guy who works at the grocery store near me who looks a lot like Pete. Maybe you can hire him as a body double. Could do, yeah, maybe. It's a good idea. Although, to be fair, this kind of whole look of hair like this, dark rimmed glasses and a beard is pretty much standard fare for YouTube. There's so many of us that look like this. So many. Dark Mechanicus Tech Priest, as is always building stuff. Yeah, maybe an orc. Maybe we could do something as an orc base. People always seem to, considering I don't actually do many orc conversions, you think it'd be. You think I do a lot more, really, considering how their kind of whole culture is based around kitbashing. Right, I'll leave that to dry, and I'll start gluing the next guy, and grab those bits. Yeah, I think prepping for the stream, like cutting away all these components first, is definitely the right way to go. It took me a while to do it, that's the only thing. It took a little bit of time out. I was hoping to do some more Dark Angels painting today, but didn't really get any chance to. Also, it's quite warm, so I was trying to avoid being in the... being in this hot room and just like warming it up before I spent 3 hours sat in here with the windows and the door shut. Alright, let's glue it together. I wonder, Pete, what made you move from monument paints to 2 thin coats? So I basically got sent a box set which had the whole range of the 2 thin coats range, and I thought, I'll give it a go. I'll see what they're like. I can't remember which was the first video that I did with them, but I did one video and I really like them. They remind me of kind of Games Workshop paints, that kind of similar consistency. But the thing is with Monument Hobby stuff, they're really nice paints, and I've really had a good time using them, but I found them to be the consistencies were either very, very strong, so some paints were very strongly pigmented, and other ones didn't work quite as well. So some of the reds didn't cover quite as well, but then like some of the blues worked really nicely, some of the browns worked really nicely, and it was difficult to convey that. I mean, for the most part, most paints are the same, to be fair. A few paints tend to be stronger pigmented, some of them are weaker pigmented. Games Workshop and 2 thin coats kind of sits in the middle of that, but yeah, I quite like using them. 2 thin coats painted. Depends where you are. If you're in the UK, I think Element Games sell them. What happens to your custom kit bashes? Do you sell them? So I was thinking about selling a few, because a lot of them just end up in like a box in storage and don't really see the light of day after I've built them. So I did sell recently my Orc Lucid Dragon. One of my patron supporters actually bought it. So yeah, I do have an idea to sell a few of the models. Possibly my Soul Grinders, my different God marked Soul Grinders. I might sell those at some point. Pretty much anything that's like, I've got. I mean, you can't really see it in this. Let's go to the face cam. You can just about say I've got like little cabinets over there, which has got some of my more favourite models in there. So Yarek's in there, Comrade Kurz, Khaldor Drago, the Valhallan Kill Team is in there. The Custodes are in there as well. Grey Knight Kill Team, and then the 4 Horus Heresy ones that I've done. So I probably won't be getting rid of any of those, keeping all those are my favourite ones, but some of the other ones just end up in boxes, so it'd be nice to get them to people who actually will display them and things like that. Where are we?
Cool. Caught up. That's good. Right, so these should be glued a bit more now. Let's get this glue out. The glue fumes are just about dissipated then as well. I'm just like reinforcing them again. Right, there we go. To one side, and we can bring in this guy. So, same as before, we're going to add some pouches around here, add in the crossbar over here, add in. So I've got one helmetless one, which is probably going to be my sergeant. So I need to decide which one's going to be my sergeant. Not sure yet. Maybe we could just go for this one as a sergeant. That makes more sense. So yeah, another Reaver helmet. This time a helmetless one, just to kind of mark him out as being a sergeant. Let's glue the arms in place. I found that actually quite helpful last time. Is that right? Yeah, it must be. And the second arm. Let's put that. This is the guy who's got one arm firing. Peter Turbo, do you plan on doing any more Heresy kit bashes at some point? They were some of my favourite of your kit bashes. I'm guessing you mean the Heresy series. Yeah, I think the next Legion that I needed to do was Space Wolves, and I kind of got a little bit stuck on him. It seems strange because I wanted to do something that wasn't just just take some Space Wolf conversion bits from 40k or something like that and glue them. I wanted to do something that was a little bit more unique, and I was a little bit tricky trying to find what that angle could be. So I had some ideas. A lot of people were suggesting maybe like more of a Saxon influence as opposed to being very kind of Scandinavian. So yeah, we'll see. Fog Battleship Warspite will need to head out. We'll catch the VOD once it's posted. Keep up the epic content. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me, and I shall do my best to keep up the epic content. Yo, Pete, I remember you doing a conversion on the old Dente. Any opinions on doing something with the new one? As I think it'll make a good Dornian Heresy model. I agree, it would make a very good Dornian Heresy. And that's all I'm going to say on that one, because I do actually have a plan for that. I don't know if I'll do it anytime soon, but it would. I've got two ideas, and it would fit into that one. So we'll see. We'll see. Dark 814. Your Chaos Cultist conversions for followers of the Traitor Legions were amazing, and some of my favourite conversion videos out there. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed those. They were an interesting challenge to try and do something when Chaos Cultists didn't really exist much in miniature form for Chaos, and then they released the kit, which makes things a little bit easier, but you still don't have much in the way of Legion specificity there. Yankee, you can try to convert the plastic Mark 6 Space Wolves and other Legions into the special units from Forge World and the exemplary battles. Good idea, yeah, could do. Some special units might work actually, especially because Games Workshop keeps getting rid of like the resin components. So maybe doing something alternative in plastic might help. Polka Dot Ninja, I would be tempted by the Norman route. Have them done like Norman Knights, as it would be something a bit different. I would have to say my favourite has got to be the Custodes kit bashes. They got me back into doing my Eldar. Interesting. I quite like that. I was basically playing Elden Ring. I was like, oh, what can I kit bash from Elden Ring? And I quite like the Clean Rock Knights. I was like, well, let's just do something like that. And then I thought it'd be funny just do a Nurgle corrupted Custodes, so everyone would be like, oh, you can't corrupt Nurgle. Yes, you can. There's a weird kind of like box here. I just noticed. Yeah, let's get rid of that. I think it's supposed to be the Twitch overlays, but it's like doesn't seem to be working properly. So let's just hide that. There we go. Clean it up a little bit. So pouches. Let's see what we've got in terms of pouches for this guy. So these are some heavy intercessor pouches. Again, not too sure about these. I think we need something which is like with this last guy, how I've kind of segmented them across the middle. I think that works best because just popping in the middle looks a little bit weird, but we need quite a bit of something. So let's see what we've got available to us in terms of pouches. So these are from the Eliminators. That's a good option for one side. Maybe remove this parchment here. Thanks for joining, Peter. I'll see you on Wednesday. The Shadow Cube has left us. So this is the thing, I don't want to just do the exact same thing as I did last time. And again, whilst I would normally add knives and pistols, the fact that these guys have got power fists, it's a little bit tricky really to... A little bit tricky to get these on there, because obviously if you've got power fists, it's very difficult for him to use. Pouches make more sense because you can argue that they're there for him to use later on. They're not necessarily there for him to use in combat. Interesting. Not 100% sure there. Oops, I've not liked that. The Tragic Trickster. Hi Pete, I was wondering, has there ever been a faction you got into gameplay or rules-wise after kitbashing something for it? Or factions that you specifically enjoy using kits for? So, I'm not a massive gamer when it comes to 40k, so nothing really too much in the rules. Most of the time it's usually the models or the background or the aesthetics that kind of lead me to stuff more than the rules do. But factions that I specifically enjoy using kits for, I'm not going to say Space Marines because that's probably the easiest one to say, just because there's so many kits you can use. I quite like the new Cadian stuff, but then again, a lot of Age of Sigmar stuff is quite interesting. I quite like the new, well, I say new, the new Star Thunderstrike Stormcast Eternals. I would like to do some more stuff with those. Those are really nice kits, especially compared to the older Stormcast stuff. Drake 814, I'm also painting my converted and cursor kill team models. I think the Infiltrator and cursor kit is great. It is very good. Lots of cool items and stuff like that you can use for kitbash and things. Powerfist definitely see like one of those things you just got to not think too much about. Yeah, it's difficult really because I don't want to just add stuff randomly to it. It's like, oh, how's he going to use a pistol if there's one attached to his chest? But yeah, tricky one. Let's glue the arms on here whilst I'm thinking about it. I've got a lot of little smaller pouches I can maybe attach instead. That might just kind of fill in the pouch quota for this model. A little bit too much glue there. I didn't realise how much was going on. Let's try and fix that. Cool. Right, so 2 torsos, both of which need pouches adding to them. Right, what else have we got access to? Lots of grenades. Grapple launchers. Is there anything on the Hellblasters kit? Let's see if there's anything on here. Oh, these are nice. Look at those. Noticed those last time. You can see the little belt with the little tanks in there. You know what? Let's just add a pistol. Just add a pistol. Let's forget about it. We'll take Blaholtzen. Seems like Marines would have it. Oh no, where was it going? It's gone. Yeah, it was you. Blaholtzen. Powerfist definitely seem like one of those things you just gotta not think about too much. I think I like better with Chaos Marines over regular ones is how they have regular people along with them. Pouches the pouch guard. It seems like Marines would have an easier time with some squires. Now I think in the lore they are actually supposed to have. They do have like people walking around with them with ammo and stuff like that, and it's a case of that's why they don't carry anywhere near as much equipment as they should do, which is quite an interesting take on them. Tactical fanny packs. If I did that as one side and then maybe added in a couple of pouches from the other side. Oops. So fiddly. Oh, that's not going to stick. Oh, it's on the floor. That's the carpet. We got it. We found it. What do we think about that one? How's that looking? If I move my fingers out of the way long enough. Is that pistol there looking a bit weird? I think it might look weird. Kind of like a very ornate cod piece. Too ornate. Maybe we could go the other side. Or we could just cut that pistol off completely. The new RBT's models look very feudal and would make some great chapter certs, I think. I know. I mean, if I've got one of the ones that I did here, the Kitbash. It's kind of like a perfect little squire model to go next to the Space Marines. It looks like something. It's a tactical cod piece. That's what it is. Keep pausing the chat bags. There you go. Yeah, I think we need the bigger pouches. I think the smaller pouches don't do quite as much, and also doesn't fill in this gap here. So definitely something a little bit more. So maybe we can go for the knife instead. Let's see how the knife looks. If I place that over the front there. I had no idea you streamed, Glenn. I found your channel. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a fairly recent it's a fairly recent thing, as in Wednesday was my first. I mean, I used to stream a bit more regularly, but I haven't streamed much since I think February last year was the last time I streamed, and then I streamed again on Wednesday. So yeah, it's been a while. But yeah, I'm back. I am back for streaming. Yeah, I'm really sure of this. Not sure about this one. Not sure. Tricky. Let's see what the other bits box holds. Right. Okay. So I've got the big bits box out now. Let's see if there's anything in here which is usable. Lots of pistols, lots of knives. A knife makes some sense because it can be used out of combat. Yeah, I think so. It kind of has that aspect to it where it's not necessarily just a combat knife. It could be a utility knife. Again, a pistol to some degree might need a sidearm when he's not in like his full Gravis armor. Would you have a knife? Yeah, possibly. I'm stumped. Oh, so this is actually, if you've been in the stream for earlier on, this is what I had the idea for, was basically to get something like this, not the exact same, and then get the bolt storm gauntlets and basically swap out the barrels. But then getting enough of these would probably be just far too expensive. One could imagine a knife with a telescoping handle for when you need to grab it with your power fist. I always think that would be called like a magnetic grabber thing. Zafia Art. Okay, can I talk a quick pet peeve real quick? And this is probably going to get me some hate if I talk about it. I mean, I hope it's just something like, oh, I don't really like pouches on Space Marines. It makes no sense. But go on. Let's see what it says. See what it say. I hate when people get something like a Titan, any Titan, and then don't get an airbrush to paint it. I mean, it's possible to paint it without an airbrush, but yeah, it's quite difficult to. It's quite a much harder job. You're supposed to paint your minis. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. So I think the biggest problem I'm facing here, what I might do is I might basically just add one of these pouches. I might cut it down a little bit so it's not quite as much, and then add one of these to the left. The bigger pouches tend to work better on the other guy, so it's hard to say. Quite like this big pouch on from the heavy intercessor. Let's cut that down. Let's see how we go with that one. Turn these down, make sure there's no sprue tabs or mold lines, and we can get them ready. Oh no, I've mixed up the guys now. That one. I think adding this pouch slightly off to one side makes more sense. And then if I glue the small pouch next to it, so the problem with the belt area is I don't like the tabard effect that you get with the non with like the Raptors and stuff. It looks too ornate. I quite like that idea where you just have utility stuff. It's pouches, it's equipment, everything else like that. Kier Alvenblood is raiding with a party of 165. Wow, thank you very much. You've a very big raid. Thank you. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining me. I am in the last kind of section of this kit bash. This is what we've built so far. I'm working on my Raptors if you ever see my stuff. And Broadsword Wargaming as well. Thank you very much, guys, for joining. Great combination, a great pairing there. How's it going? It's been a while since we've spoken. I think, where's it? Warhammer Fest when we last saw each other? And then obviously it's been, not Warhammer Fest, it was the Horus Heresy event last year. Wow, that's even longer ago than I thought. Yeah, it was the Heresy event. I think. Did we at Warhammer Fest? I know I was there on the Sunday, but I don't know if you guys were there as well. I can't remember if you. And I don't think you were at UK Games Expo.
Either that or we just keep like missing each other on the wrong days. Oh, Broadsfall Wargame, thank you very much for the subscription. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Trying to figure out this Twitch thing. You did salute, that was it. I remember seeing pictures of you, other people, with other people, and I was like, were you at Salute or were you at Warhammer Fest? And I just didn't see you on the same day. I was going to go to Salute this year, but it kind of ended up being a bit of a last minute thing. It was just difficult to organise in the end. Some tuber dollar. Thanks, dude. Much appreciated. So yeah, at the moment we were basically, you joining us the stream where we're basically trying to figure out how to cover this guy's crotch. So we've got a suggestion for a knife. The only thing is obviously he uses power fist. It's quite difficult. We decided that this wasn't right. It didn't really look. It kind of reminded me of that one guy from Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah, not really there. So we're trying to figure out how to cover it over. Right, so I think we're going to go for the pouches, and these pouches, and then we're going to keep it nice and simple. We might go for a knife, we'll see. Oh well, we've got a hype train going already. I think we had a little one start at the beginning of the stream, and then this new this raid is massively pumped up. Well, the numbers, thank you very much. The Shield, subscribe to the Prime, thank you very much appreciated. I've always wondered how they started unbuckled those dainty little pouches with their big meaty claws of hands. I like to think of the Space Marines as being surprisingly dexterous, even though they're kind of these big hulking brutes. I like to think of them as maybe, because I think it's in the background as well, like some of the different chapters they like do art and stuff like that. You need to have some degree of brush control. But yeah, I would imagine it's kind of like seeing a gorilla with a paintbrush. I'm not sure how they're sitting. Polka Dot Ninja, subscribe to the Prime. Thank you very much appreciated, Polka Dot. Yeah, I think as long as we balance out this other side. So let's try the knife again. Now we have something there. The trouble is with the way this sits. That's a bit too much, isn't it? No, I might use the knife, but I might kind of strap it to the leg instead. I think that might be a better option. Let's stick some smaller pouches there. Let's go for the pouches. Yeah, that'll do. Let's go for the pouches. The only thing is about this, oh no, I might need to do a little bit of gap filling later on. Just to remove that little indentation where the loincloth would normally go. It's a bit more visible on this model than it is this one. You see? They're meant to be really fast when sword fighting, so I think they're pretty handy. Sigismund was no slouch. Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's kind of like they're meant to be just good at everything. So even though they're really big and bulky and they wear power armor, they're still meant to be very quick and fast. And it's strange because I think in a lot of fiction you would imagine someone in that kind of armor being very slow and lumbering and not really having much in the way of speed or agility. I imagine maybe some chapters and legions are faster than others. I don't imagine Iron Warriors being fast nor dainty. Okay, cool. Right, should we go for the Sergeant for this guy, or should we go for a regular Reaver? Let's go for the regular Reaver. Did I get it? The third head? Yeah, perfect. I think the World Eaters just tear their pouches open Kratos style. Yeah, there are whole Forge Worlds kept in business just by the simple fact that the World Eaters don't know how to open pouches properly. Okay, that was a nice quick clean up, and this should just go nicely into that gap. The stuff you don't see on the videos, everything flinging off. It wasn't too bad actually, it didn't go across the room this time. Get the head positioned right. Facing the direction of the gauntlet, and then there we go. Second guy. We've got a little bit more space. I might put some more pouches in here maybe. We've got that crossbar to go across here. So, yeah, maybe. Flinging bits, it's not even an ad break, I know. Pouches could also just be secured using magnets to hold the flap closed. You'd only need to be able to, a little finger to gaps pry open. You could do, yeah. Lots of different options, especially when it comes to various different sci-fi techie things you can get used to get around problems. Augustus 197, Emperor's Children, Salamanders, Blood Angels. Yeah, all of them very much, probably the most... Salamanders probably differently than Blood Angels. I think Blood Angels and Emperor's Children, artists and things like that, whereas Salamanders are artistic in their own right, but in a different sense. They're artisans. I think even Space Wars have got a degree of it, haven't they? Because they do things like wood carvings and things like that. Are these guys getting some dead animal bits? Oh, I'm trying to avoid it on these because I don't know. Maybe it's kind of something we'd stick in the base, but maybe not. Maybe not. I feel like those work more for kind of the gothic stylings of things rather than the more utilitarian approach that I'm going for with these. Would another couple of pouches fit nicely in here? Let's have a look. Let's check those out. Pouch a bit much? What do we think? So I'd say as well sometimes, because when it's just grey, I mean, these pouches will be like a dark grey, almost black. I might just place something there just to kind of balance out that hip a little bit. Yeah, let's pop it there. Let's go for that. I think it's center weighted too much of the pouches that we've already got. So if we place them off to the side again, we're balancing things out a bit more. Let's go for that. Okay, I'm just going to angle them a little bit so it looks more like they're around the body as opposed to just being stuck to that plate, and I might angle these a little bit as well. I think that's the problem, they're looking too square on. Yeah, that's a bit better. There we go. Cool. We can add the little rebar across the chest now. That's the next task. Let's do that. I actually prefer this little pouch arrangement than this one at the moment. We'll see how it looks when it's done. Have you thought about making any vehicles for the Raptors? I think, yeah, I think definitely. The Raptors are definitely going to work well for vehicles
tanks, dreadnoughts, things like that, especially the kind of the walker version of the dreadnought, not actually the mech suit. Tactical dread. Yeah, that looked pretty cool. Right. Hellblasters. What are we doing for time? Last 15 minutes of the stream, guys, and we've finished a 3-hour stream. We actually made a lot more progress in this stream than we did in the last one, which is good. What did we do in the last one? We basically did part of one Croxagore in 2 hours. So yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. Where are they gone? Backpacks, power packs. Right, it's gone. Cool. Let's grab another one of these. Could definitely make good use of the bedrolls and such on a dread. Yeah, I think I would definitely dip into the Cadian sprues, the vehicle sprues, and the upgrade sprues, things like that. It'd be really helpful just to fill in a lot of that empty space with those kind of pouches and bedrolls and stuff. I mean, the new Primaris tanks are very much... You could just build them as is, and you've pretty much got a really decent Raptor tank. So whilst I think other models in the range, like Blade Guard, would be difficult to get looking good for Raptors, the tanks work incredibly well. Okay, let's trim these off. Let's adjust that focus a little bit. Cool. Hopefully this will be the last thing we can do in the stream, and we had a nice little end to the stream, getting 2 of them complete. Perfect. I've got a 1080 and want to convert it to give it some more clearance, but I reckon you could replace the rear gun with a servo arm type thing for a mobile tech marine workbench. Yeah, you could do. It'd be like that'd be good for something like Iron Hands or something like that. You could have like a tech marine more of like a tech marine kind of style thing going on with it. I mean, rules wise, you can just say it's one with a gun, but yeah. Trim that a little bit down, a little bit more. We're going to try and get this attached. Okay, let's see. So that's fitting up. There's a little bit more of a trim, I think. So just the focus so we can just see what's going on. Yep. Okay, let's go with that. There we go. It's the same height, a little bit lower, I think. There we go. Nice. Cool. How's that looking? It's angled slightly higher up than the last one, so let's just bring that down a little bit. Wonderful. I actually wonder if this is upside down. Oh, yeah. That's the glue. Oh, God. I probably will do painting next time just to get away from the fumes. Hey Pete, any chance you would be willing to part with your anger on Russ? Unfortunately, no. It's like those kind of really big centerpiece models like that. I really like to keep hold of. So no, unfortunately not. But luckily, I do have a very, very excellent tutorial you can watch and build your own. Not long after that video went up, actually, I was just scrolling through Reddit, and someone had basically recreated the whole thing. They built their own version of it, and it looked really good. They'd done all the fur sculpting, they'd swapped in the Space Wolf parts, they'd painted in the same way I painted him. They did a really good job. It's always cool to see when people have been able to follow my tutorials, because quite often I put out a video and I have no idea if it's a easily followed, you can actually follow the video or not. And when people actually manage to follow it and they create something which looks like what I did, then that's great. It means that the tutorial did its job. Right, okay, cool. I'm going to leave that to be. Excuse me. Oh, God. Last 10 minutes of the stream. Probably not going to do any more. So if you have any questions, anything you want to ask me before I disappear for the evening, then please do leave your comments now. Let's move over here a little bit. Oh, let's move the Twitch alert. I don't know why it's still showing. Shadow Cube returns. Yeah, I haven't removed it from every single one. So I've been thinking about... Oh, chat changes. Quickly read the comments. So I've been thinking about kitbashing a Raptors company champion for a command squad. Any ideas on how to make a sword and shield wielding pal more Raptors-like? So I think with something like that, you're going to want to go down the whole kind of probably breaches route, and you probably don't even need to go for a sword. If you think about modern military weapons and stuff that they do use tomahawks. So they use like basically is like a close combat wolf throwing weapon. So you could maybe give him a tomahawk, like a bigger version of an axe, something that's quite like the idea of an axe, because it's got a use. You can use it as a weapon, or you can use it for cutting wood to shore up defenses, something like that. So if you look at the situation, if you look at the weapons and equipment, and you think about, okay, a sword is just a sword, an axe can be used. I mean, you wouldn't want to use a combat axe for cutting down a tree, but it's that kind of idea. So maybe you could go for something like that. I have a separate wish list on Games Workshop for parts, so I can just follow your Chaos Cultist videos, but my backlog is huge. I know that feeling. That feeling indeed. Shadow Key returns. I know a guy that did the Angron conversion kit as well, though he didn't have the same head, so he switched out for something else. Yeah, it's quite interesting to see how people approach stuff as well, because I will do something in a certain way, and other people might think, I've got a better way of doing that. That's fine. It's quite interesting to see what other people's takes on it as well, and how they adapt it for themselves. Before we go, is there anyone else who is streaming at the moment? Might be worth doing a raid. Maybe we can just drop in on someone else. Let's have a look on Twitch quickly. Let's click on the Warhammer category. see who's currently live. Oh, Marco's live. Let's raid Marco at the end of this one. We'll go say hello. But yeah, thank you to everyone who has joined me on this 3-hour stream. I do apologise for the for the coughing fit, but yeah, a little bit of a sore throat, and then being all these around these glue fumes for several hours. But yeah, I think we've done a good progress in this stream, much better than we did last time. Really happy with that, how that looks. Basically what I wanted, something for the Raptors. Nothing too complicated, because I would like to repeat this over several models. There's the second one that's in progress. I think these look really nice when they're fully built and painted. So yeah, it'd be quite nice to see those completed. Any final questions before we can go? Hey Pete, your favourite kitbash shirt on YouTube. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Pete the Warrior, you ever look at people's minis on stream just for the heck of it? I have done some community ones. I'll probably do some more community streams where people could submit miniatures, and I will basically have a look at them. If they want critique or feedback or anything like that, we can do that as well. Two entire little dudes. We have done two entire little. Well, we did like a little bit, 3 and a bit. Not bad going for 3 hours, especially for me. This kind of work, especially if I was maybe just not doing like the chat as well, I probably would have taken a little bit longer. But yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Well, I think painting won out, so maybe what I'll do is continue working on these off stream, and then Wednesday, depending on how much time I get, I want to continue with Dark Angel. So maybe we'll continue these on Wednesday stream. It's a shorter stream, and then from there we can then do some painting. Maybe do some community models as well. We'll see what happens. So yeah, big thank you to everyone who has joined the stream so far. I really appreciate everyone who's joined. I apologize if I haven't seen your questions. Everyone who's subscribed as well, everyone who's done a follow, much appreciated. Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Oh, let me just get the last couple of comments just to. Right, okay, so let's figure out how to do a raid now. This is new to me. It's all very new to me. Let's go to face final one. Perfect. So, raid channel. Pick a live channel to raid. Marco for Sony. Okay guys, thanks for joining the stream. We're gonna check out Marco's stuff.